Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn states that there would be a huge legal case that will probably stop Andy Ruiz from fighting if he does not agree to fight on this side of the pond. Now, he says he knows what he signed and it wasn't unfair what he signed, but he has contractual obligations that he has to meet now. Andy Ruiz was chosen from a group of people because we believed he would be the best, most competitive fight for Anthony Joshua, and we were right. He goes on to say, and then if he was to win that fight, as set out in the contract, there were a number of terms that he would have to adhere to. It's very standard. It's very standard. It's not, oh, that was out of order. He is the A side now. No, this was what was agreed by both parties, negotiated and agreed. Both, he stressed, Joshua will be the one who ultimately decides where the fight takes place. Now, I was just talking to a friend about this, so it makes sense to do a video about it now. Now, to cut all the bullshit aside, it is ultimately up to Team Joshua. And I said Team Joshua, mind you, not necessarily Anthony Joshua. The reason why, because I don't think that Joshua will make every decision on his own. I don't think that he decides to do something and that therefore it'll be done. Just like Mayweather didn't. Just like a lot of fighters did not. Okay. Anthony Joshua is a brand, first of all. But what Eddie Hearn said to counterpunch that is right. Andy Ruiz, he signed a contract to fight the unified champion at the time. And based on the contract, they decide where that will be. Now, first of all, Andy Ruiz, he shouldn't. People know how I feel about it. I think the fight should be in Madison Square Garden where he lost it. It just makes sense. And I just did a video explaining that. But for Andy Ruiz, I think it's more important for him to exercise that he is the new unified world champion from fighting to fighting anywhere. So he shouldn't be the resistance on making some demands that he really doesn't need to make anyway, because he can't. Yeah, you're the new champ. You're the new champ, but you were the challenger before you were the champion. Before you signed that contract, you was a challenger. When you sign that contract to fight the champion, while beating the champion, you still have obligations while and when you were a challenger. Okay? That's the difference. Andy Ruiz didn't go into this as a champion. He went into this as a challenger. Now he's the champion. That doesn't mean that, hey, I'm the shit now. Yeah, you've got paid regardless, but yeah, you got perks, Snickers, cousins that coming over that you ain't seen in years. I get it. But at the end of the day, you still have obligations that you've signed. Okay? So what Eddie Hearn was saying wasn't right. And if he wants to do really feed on an ego that he's just now receiving or having all of a sudden, it's stupid. Because the question you ask yourself, like, okay, I don't want to fight Anthony Joshua again because I don't want to fight in the UK or anywhere else besides the place I want to fight in. People are going to start asking you questions like, well, why wouldn't you fight him if you sure you can beat him the way you beat him the first time? Are you really worried about a venue that hard? You should be worried about the performance. You should be worried about other factors, but a venue, that shouldn't be one of them. I don't get that. The same way Anthony Joshua gets criticized by this channel, by other channels, that he should fight over here is the same reason that for Andy Ruiz to get criticized for not wanting to fight over there. He should want to do that. He shouldn't be in that situation where, hey, no, I don't want to do this, and so I'm going to go another route. No, you signed a contract, bro. You know what I mean? So I don't see really what the issue is about all this. I think that Andy Ruiz is trying to get counsel by Al Heyman because they want more than they can get. They want to stress some type of power, which they don't have. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're trying to do. I guess what they're doing now is going over that contract with a fine-tooth comb and trying to find a loophole out of that venue, decision. But here's the thing, guys. Here's also one last thing I do want to address. Anthony Joshua should start showing his power, right? What I mean by that, he should start making his own voice. It shouldn't be Eddie Hearn all the time. Anthony Joshua already said he wants it in Madison Square Garden. So you know what? Anthony Joshua should put his foot down and say, you know what? No. Let's cut all this shit. Let's not give Andy Ruiz an excuse to try to back out of this fight. Because that's the only thing that could happen. He refuses to fight, then they go to fucking court. Then no one really wins because no one can fight after that point. Then this fight gets derailed and prolonged in court and all this shit, right? And he won't get stripped, but he can't fight for those belts. If he can't fight for those belts, as he has those belts, no one else can fight for him, right? Then the strive for undisputed will get pushed back, and then guess what? Guess the only belt that would be relevant at that time, the WBC, and we all know what the fucking WBC stands for. We be crooks. Why would you want that belt, the only belt that can circulate around, right? While the other belts are frozen due to bullshit over ego, because that's all it's about. So Joshua shouldn't give any excuse to Andy Ruiz. He shouldn't. He should just, hey, you know what? Fuck it. I want to fight this fight anyway. What's the problem, Eddie? Let's stop doing this. You know what I mean? He's trying to do what? Well, let's fight. I want to fight there anyway. Make the fight happen in Madison Square Garden. Stop bullshitting. Let's sell it out again. Let's break records and let's get these fucking belts back. Problem solved. But Anthony Joshua has to be that person to do that. Now the question is, why hasn't he? You know what I'm saying? That's the question. We shouldn't even have these situations where in talks of what Eddie says, if Andy Ruiz don't do this and there's going to be repercussions. It shouldn't even be that. This shouldn't even be an issue at all. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be any issue about a venue. On both sides. If Andy Ruiz, okay, well fine, we'll go over there. What happened to $50 million? You know what I mean? But all that's in a contract, right? He's getting money that he's never had before. But anyway, I think both sides should really come together and make this fight happen. And I think since Anthony Joshua said he wanted to fight at Madison Square Garden first, that should be that. And that is all. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Eddie Hearn's statements. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.